Hello, everyone, and welcome to another IndieX 2020 showcase. Today, you can ask yourself, why are there two little tiny dinos showing up on my screen? And that's because we are here today with Tiny Dinos, exactly, Tiny Dino Games, and they're going to be showing off the Ambassador Fractured Timelines. They're a very amazing game. And so, since we're going to be only with audio from them side, we chose the image of the Tiny Dinos because we thought it would be appropriate and cute. So, having said that, thank you very much, guys, for being here with us and for taking on this challenge of showing off your game on a live stream. And if you could, maybe one of you could give us a little bit of, I say, an elevator pitch about what the ambassador really is.
Do you want me to go, Ryan, or you want to go?
Yeah, you can go, TJ. You can. Yeah,
Okay. The Ambassador Fresh Timelines is a twin stick shooter focused on the ability to pause time, and that's kind of what all the core functionality kind of revolves around.
Yeah. Me myself, when I was playing it, I liked not only that it was kind of challenging and different, but that it had a lot of, let's say, soul, let's say personality, soul. It was kind of a funny. I caught myself laughing a few times. Is this one of your main tenets for development? Did you try to bring your own humor into the game, or is it just you're just two geniuses that are incidentally funny just because?
we definitely like to put a little humor into our work when we can. A lot of times when we're working out how the game is going to work, and especially narrative and stuff, we're just kind of constantly cracking jokes, and a lot of that I think just makes it through to the final game.
Oh, good.
And the kind of style of it is very. There's like a juxtaposition, like you're throwing swords into creatures that are just blowing up into blood, but then there's also like this cartoony aspect.
Yeah.
So that joking tone is kind of intentional
Yeah,
as a juxtaposition to that.
yeah.
And I think that one thing that we are going to see afterwards when we're playing the game that adds a lot to that is also the characters. They don't speak per se; they mumble, right?
Yeah.
So that brings an added charm. Was that an early decision on your part, or was that something that you, with the time, with the development, found out that okay, maybe if you add this, it's going to work better than if it's voiced per se, or was it a resources thing?
Initially it was a resources thing. Is we were making this with zero budget 3 years ago, and we're like, oh god, we need something for NPC sound effects, and I just found a royalty-free mumble sound effect, and I was like, this is kind of funny. Then I threw it in, and we went to a conference, and everyone
Like it.
thought it was just hilarious how they talked. So we're like, okay, I guess we're keeping that now.
Yeah, one of those strokes of luck that actually turns out okay and makes the game better at the same time.
Yeah. We've got the same mumbling in our next game too, so I think that might just be a tiny dino thing that we kind of carry through. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe now, as if you are lucky and you get more resources and more time to dedicate to your games, you'll make the like premium mumbling instead of like just royalty free mumbling. No, we have premium mumbling now.
Hire voice actors to mumble.
Exactly.
Yeah, we would really like a female mumble sound effect because all we have is
Yeah.
male mumbling right now. It'd be really nice to get some female mumbles.
Yeah,
So that's
good.
hopefully going to happen for next game.
Awesome. But I think it's time we actually started showing the game to everyone because that's also why they are here mostly. And don't forget, everyone, that you can at any moment leave questions in the chat, and we will get to them by the end of this show. We'll try to answer most of the questions if we can. So of course, leave them in the chat, and we'll be jumping into the game right now. So we can immediately see a very nice pixel art background, the Ambassador Fracture Timelines. And I do believe this is depicting the initial ritual, let's say, of the game, right? Or the rite of passage, let's say.
Yeah,
Exactly,
that's
yeah.
correct. Yep.
Let's see. Of course, I want to start over, even though I've played this game. Standard. The way the game is meant to be. Let's go standard. Oh, nice. So, here we go. Kate, Elder Mage of the Eternal Fellowship, bestow upon you the position of Ambassador of Time. The mumbles remind me of a lot of what was the game? Plants vs Zombies.
Yeah,
the crazy ass guy. He mumbles a
the
lot. And
neighbor.
yeah, exactly. So it brings a lot of nostalgic feelings. Maybe that's why people actually love it because everyone
We
played
get
Plants
a
vs Zombies at some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of references to Banjo Kazooie too,
Oh yes,
going back
Uh,
even further.
yeah, yeah. I forgot about that crazy guy in Plants vs Zombies.
and it's funny that you say that because I actually forgot that Plants vs Zombies existed altogether. Like
Hmm.
I spent hours and hours and hours playing that game. And the other day, someone sent me a video of a song of in the game, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this game existed." Like my recollection of that game was entirely eliminated from my head. I don't know why, and I had to go and download it again to play.
Yeah, yeah, that was like the age of like when games on mobile really started blowing up because there's like Crazy Birds
Oh, nice.
and
So
Plants vs
finally,
Zombies and
we
all
are
that.
here. As you can see, we can move with the WASD, and we have a very funny weapon that we can go and toss to people, which is the main point of this game, as they said. It's like a twin stick shooter, but of course, it's a twin weapon thrower, let's say, which is funny on itself. And here we are, like presented with the main mechanic of the game, which in which we can stop time, or shall we say, slow down time, and it's a rechargeable thing. So when you guys started development on this game, so as you mentioned, it was like 3 years ago. Did
Mhm.
you? How were you feeling? Like what made you decide that we were going to make a throwing weapons game where you can control time and we have a lot of absurdist humor and cataclysmic events? What was going through your mind, guys?
Um, you know, that definitely didn't all happen at
Yeah,
once.
of
I
course.
think at first, I mean, at first this was supposed to be a 3-month roguelike, and it didn't turn into that. We this was a lot of learning as we go because before this we only made like small little 1-month games for like Flash basically. So this is like our first attempt at something a bit bigger, and it just kind of morphed and grew as we started learning more.
Ooh, nice beat.
Um, like fun fact, this tutorial that you're playing right now, this is like the 10th iteration of this tutorial. There's probably 10 other tutorials we built that we scrapped before we settled on this.
Yes, because
So
of course not everyone would know, but you were also present at IndieX 2019, I believe.
yes.
Yes, and you had something completely different at the time. So yeah, it was really good to see the development of the game and how things were progressing. Because when I was part of the judging team, and when I was judging, I said to all of them like, "Oh, it's notorious. You can see that like they've improved a lot in this time. Like the tutorial is easier to understand. It flows. Everything flows better. I don't know. It's just sometimes it's very hard to describe."
Mhm.
Um, let's say an improvement, but it was just clear cut.
Well, I'm glad you like it better.
Yeah, it definitely took a. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say we just put a lot of thought into the tutorial overall because we went to so many conferences, and that's like probably one of the best ways you can see if your tutorial actually works is going to a conference and just
Yeah.
handing someone a controller and seeing if they could do it, if they can play the game. Um, so this was definitely like this first area definitely got the most focus out of probably any area in the game.
Awesome.
So what were you gonna say, TJ?
I was going to say another thing. It was one of the main things in the game that we learned right off the bat in our first conference was like trying to teach people how to use time stop was a really hard thing
Mm-hmm.
because people picked it up as a twin stick. They're like, "Oh, I know how to play these," and then they're like, "Wow, this is really hard." But it's like it's because you're not using the
Yeah, the
main
time.
mechanic. The reason that the way that makes the game easier. So we put a lot of intentionality in redesigning the tutorial and like this level and putting you in situations where you have to use it. Um, and then kind of building on that knowledge because we're kind of teaching the player from scrap how to use a mechanic they've never used before.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Which sounds straightforward, but that was probably 12 to 18 months of going to conferences and seeing what does and doesn't work and like handing it off to random people and just it was a whole process.
Yeah, yeah. Iteration is certainly the key to
Hmm.
most successes. And regarding that, I've asked this question to different guests that have been here on this showcase. And how have you dealt with the lack of, like, let's say, physical events Have you been coping well with that? Have you been getting feedback in a different manner? How are you dealing with this different scenario?
It's definitely hard, because at least for me, like physical events are probably one of my, if not my favorite thing about making games. I love conferences. Like I really like it, physically interacting with people and seeing them actually go hands on with the game. Um, Thankfully for us, COVID really started kind of ramping up right as we were ramping down with like the like experimental part of this game and seeing what does and doesn't work. We had a pretty good idea what this game was before COVID. Before COVID really started and started shutting things down. So like we were basically doing console porting when there weren't things going on, and now we've started on our
On
next
your
game.
next game, yeah, nice.
Yeah, exactly. We're not at the point yet where we would even consider taking it to a physical conference yet. So we haven't been super affected by it, but it would be hard. It'd be really hard.
Yeah, one of the best things for like just designing and figuring out where there's friction in your game is just watching like 50 people sit down and play it in a day. It's
Hmm.
really telling, and it also feels really good when you see the player naturally understand something you're trying to teach them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's kind of reinforces it, and it just feels good. It gives you a little serotonin drop.
Yeah. There's
Nice.
also like the unfiltered response of people you don't know, which is really nice. Like I can't hand off our next game to my mom and be like, "All right, mom, tear into it." And, like she'll be like, "This is great, honey."
Yeah,
I'll be like,
awesome.
"Great, thanks." But it's, I don't know. It's like it's nicer when you get like a 7-year-old kid who plays and he just rips into everything that's wrong with the game because like it helps. It actually really does.
Or when one of them likes it and then goes and brings back his 5 friends that are at the conference, and
That too. Yeah.
it lets you know that you're doing something right.
Yep. Yep.
So developing this game, as you've already reached the end, and you're just like finalizing things and porting and doing other, let's say, more menial tasks. If you could go back to the beginning of the development and give yourself like one piece of advice, firstly, would you? And secondly, what would it be?
Um, Make it smaller. Make it smaller. We really locked ourselves into this thing for 3 years, and we're very happy with the game. We're very happy with the final result. But after 3 years, you get a little bit burnt out, and you get better at things, and you can't really use those new skills that you developed because you'd have to redo the whole game. Um, so yeah, my one bit of advice for me would be like make this a 1 year game and move on from it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this
You
is our
can't
first.
improve like
Sorry, go
this.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Just commenting. Yeah, you can't keep on iterating on something, right? Even though you're better, you can't just stop everything and no, no. But I have to remake this entire system now because I know how to do this nice trick and everything. Yeah, you can't be trapped by your own ambition, let's say. But go ahead, Ryan.
I was just gonna say, like, if we wanted to, we could still be working on this today and making it better. But at a certain point, you just gotta kind of be happy with where it's at and then move on.
Exactly.
And that was a choice we had to make. Like, we're really happy with where it's at, but we could definitely, if we were to like start remaking the game today, we could do a much better job with what we've learned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I could definitely do a much better job in the art. Not that I don't, I love the art in this game. But I would. There's so many things just watching this. There's so many things that I would change now based on like my current skills and style.
Yeah. Yeah. And exactly to your point, it's you can't keep iterating on things. Otherwise, that's exactly how you don't finish a game, is by trying to perfect everything and make everything better with what you just learned. It's
Yeah,
it turns a 1 year game into a 5 year game. So um,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just a very, very easy trap to fall into.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if the
going back to the question, the main thing, yeah, like I would not do such a large project in our first like commercial game.
mhm.
Mm,
I would definitely want to do something smaller and like try to get some traction with it before kind of just going off the deep end and spending 3 years on one game.
yep.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's the big advice that anyone should hear when they're going into game dev is finish the game. and
Yes.
don't worry too much. Finish the game. Don't try to make it the best thing ever. Just try and finish it.
Exactly.
That's too true because most games that are made, like probably conservatively 90% of games that start getting made never get finished. So, like
Mhm.
getting to the finish line and releasing something is better than working on it for the rest of your life or even for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hell, we have probably, I don't know, TJ, what'd you say? Probably like 30 unfinished prototypes at this point, I'd want to say.
Yeah, I have a
Mhm.
list that keeps growing.
And it's good to have prototypes,
Yeah.
but eventually you have to settle on something.
Let's see. So now we are getting a little bit into the plot. We were initiated into a fellowship of the people who can control time, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And basically, as soon as we are done with our initiation into the fellowship, um, the main, let's say, hub where the fellowship is located is absolutely annihilated, and it looks apparently like we are the only one left. So that's a really good way to try to set up something for the player and then immediately take away the, let's say, the cover from underneath their feet. And I think it's a good way to start a game because it makes you think like, oh, this plot is not something generic, right? Maybe people were expecting, oh, now I'll go back to the city and I'm going to meet all these guys and then I'll get a mission and then I'll have to go there. No. As soon as you are initiated, everything is destroyed, everything is in upheaval, and it makes you think like, oh, so the plot for this game is going to have some kind of twists and turns. I think it's a very interesting idea. What did you have this in mind when you made this start of the game, or were you had a different idea completely?
I'll have TJ field this one because
So
he.
yeah, there's a little bit of a kind of a narrative play that I was going for with that was like that you get inducted to this order that is instantly destroyed, and then the only person left kind of tells you to solve this mystery, like who did this, but like then you're kind of dealing with like what are my loyalties to this place? Like I just did this ritual, but like I don't know any of these people who just died outside of this one person, and like how far am I going to go for that at this point?
Okay.
So it was definitely an intentional kind of design around the way to make the story work with the game. The story kind of came after the mechanics, so a lot of it was actually fitting the story to the game.
Yeah. We
And
always.
then go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say we always go gameplay first. Typically, very rarely do we have something where it's like I have this idea for this story. Now let's build mechanics around it. We usually go mechanics first and then fit a story to what we built.
Yeah, I think every dev has their, let's say, process or the
Of
way they deal
course.
with things. But for me, I'm not a game dev at all. But the idea of both ideas seem attractive to me. Like the one of starting with the concept first for what the story is, and then delving into the mechanics. But in a certain manner, like I think I would find it easier to get the mechanics right out the gate, right? Okay, I know what I want to do. This is that, and then depending on how the mechanics feel, and if there's any kind of pattern that I'm seeing emerging in the gameplay, then maybe for me it would be easier to like create actually something out of that feeling of playing the game, right? It's because sometimes like if you have a rooted narrative in the mechanic and it feels right with the mechanics you're using, then I think it's much better. So I get the appeal of actually going mechanics first and then narrative world building second, because I for me it seems maybe it's just because I'm not as good of like a writer and actually creator of something like a story or a world. But if I have a base platform to start off, I feel like I'm much more creative and able to come up with much more interesting things. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's the same for
yeah,
you.
Yeah, it's kind of the old saying that like restrictions breed creativity. So like trying to fit a narrative can be into a box that's already there can be more interesting than if you were
Oh, I
to do
have
it
to
the
pick
other
up the
way.
hammer. Okay, I did not understand.
yeah,
Good.
yeah. That hammer
Yeah.
has to get picked up when. Yeah, it's the only weapon where when you throw it, you got to go get it.
Looks like I'm sticking with the sword.
um,
But
Yeah,
that's
there's
yeah,
a
good.
you
lot
know,
of design intentionality behind the weapons, and we didn't want them all to be like straight upgrades. So like every time you get a new one, it's not just going to be strictly better, but there be ones that are specific to each person's play style, and they find a weapon set that they like personally, and then use that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's very few items in this where it's just like, oh, these items are obviously better than the previous items. Most things are really just designed to be different.
Yeah, that's obviously much more interesting to make the player think a little bit about what they actually want to do and what's convenient or not, because then you're already involving them in your mechanics because he has to think about how things work and what's best and what's not, and so by immersing him in the mechanics in a different way than just okay, yeah, obviously I'm going to use this magic sword of complete annihilation. Yeah, it's much better to have nuanced choices like okay, this hammer hits like a truck, but I have to be mobile and know where it is, and at any moment I have to be able to pick up something or use it. And maybe it actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it incentivizes the use of the time mechanic, because if everyone is still, you can safely like try to grab the hammer, right?
Yep,
Mhm.
exactly.
So if someone wants to be riskier, less conservative with their gameplay, let's say, they can definitely try to use time to recover the weapon, because then that's the other problem. Like you can use time offensively and defensively, and if you're giving up your time mechanic, let's say, for offensive purposes, which means you have to go get the weapon and get it back, then your bar will not be filled if you need to avoid an attack or something else. So that's actually a very interesting point that may go over people's heads, but yeah, I just made the connections, and it's actually a very very sound decision, let's say.
Thank you. Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
if you can introduce something that
Ooh,
changes how
okay,
the game is played,
big boy.
that's like the best
Ooh,
thing you can do. Like, because that to me, that's where games get interesting,
die.
is when you can introduce one thing and then it changes how the game is played.
Yeah, very good.
So we kind of built everything like on top of each other without kind of the expectation of what some of the things would be at the end. And I bring that up because there's a speedrunner that plays our game a lot. That his name is Silent Drummer, but the way that he plays this game is just, it kind of breaks my mind because it's things that I would have never thought of, and like we designed the game, and he just plays through it so quickly. Like he gets the hammer and then goes into a boss rush and like gets right up to the boss and just starts throwing the hammer at him, picking it up, and he
Yeah.
does crazy risky plays that I never would have thought of. But like they're obviously in the game design, but like they weren't intentional.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting to see what players do with the box that you create.
Yeah. He's running like sub 30-minute completions, I think, right
Oh
now
god,
on Ambassador.
what do you
It's
know
Which is
what a
ridiculous.
regular person takes?
um on first playthrough, I think we've seen between 6 and 10 hours usually
Okay,
is
good.
about an average playthrough.
Yeah, it really depends on how like what your level of skill is.
Hmm. To give you like a
Um,
good idea, like I built a game and I can on a good day I can probably do like 45 to 50 minutes
Oh,
or
that's
so
good.
on a playthrough. So he's smoking me by 15 minutes.
That's also. Did you have that in mind when you were making the game? That's a tactic that is often used by indies. The employment of like speedrunning tactics
it
Oh,
wasn't
absolutely.
to attract
it wasn't
people.
our like a very original intention, but after we went to our first conference, we had these two streamers sit down and kind of try to speed run the game and try to beat each other. And ever since that happened, like we kind of designed a lot of things from there on with speedrunners in mind. Like if every level you start, you'll see a little timer on the top right, and that's kind of like a little time trial that you can kind of race yourself against.
Mhm.
And it definitely changed a lot of our design process after that.
And every level keeps track of your best time as well.
Oh,
So if you
nice!
go
You
to the
have
level
friendly
selection
fire.
screen, you can see all your best times for each level.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, a little incentive goes a long way. I say in
Hmm.
keeping people engaged and focused and wanting to play more. Oh,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it just
exactly.
gives you more depth and more reason to replay a level, more reason to replay the game.
Yep, exactly. Like just
word.
adding a timer to something can, for some
Oh,
people can add a ton more content just by them wanting to get that number down.
okay. Seems like you're ramping up. the difficulty, which is also ooh, wow, okay, long ranged. Let me just. Okay, good, good. It's gonna. I have to keep remembering. If there's a bridge, you're gonna need the. You gotta need to cross it quick.
Uh-huh. There's with I think almost there's a few bridges that don't blow up, but most of them do.
Or
Whoever
that's
made
also
these bridges was not very good.
an interesting perspective of learning the game's language, right? In any other game, you'd be like, okay, it's a bridge. In this game, you have to be, oh no, it's a bridge.
Exactly. Yep.
Toss it, toss it. Okay, good. Oh, I'm here. Okay.
Going back to the speedrunner thing too, we kind of made the game is completely, or at least the second act of the game is all non-linear. You can go through any of the three portals you want in any order, and the weapons you get in each zone are always the same. So if people find a like a play set that they like, they can always just kind of go to that path first, get the weapons they like, and then beat the other zones.
Oh yeah, the portals.
So that was another like replayability aspect, was kind of getting to do it in whatever order makes it easier for you. Kind of like the Mega Man
Mm-hmm.
kind of ideology where like certain weapons will make certain areas easier or not.
Yep.
Okay, good. Clean out the archers first. Where's the guy? What? So, come on. Oh no. Get out. Okay, good.
Yeah, those halberdiers were one of the earliest time stop enemies we designed,
Yep.
and they're definitely one of the scariest when they start swinging.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's enemy variety is also awesome. Okay, good, good.
Thank you.
Glad. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how many enemies there are in the game. I want to say at least 25 plus. We've got a good roster of enemies, I believe.
Let me check. I have another here, probably. Okay, good. So for you, I mean, this is your first kind of commercial game, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, what was the most challenging and the most like motivating aspect of making this game for you?
That's a good question. TJ, do you have an answer? I got to think on this one a little bit.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Take your time. Take your time.
One of the most challenging was just kind of so when we started the game, it had a lot more features, I guess, that were kind of pulling the attention away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still a fun game, but it wasn't. There was no like nothing made it feel special or different than like other games. So we finally kind of scoped and like cut a lot of things down to make it more focused around time stop, and that was going to be like the core mechanic and the core like functionality that everything would revolve around. So getting to that point where we had this unique selling point that was like this is the ability to stop time and still attack and throw things around at enemies is going to be our kind of our shtick, our like our motivating idea, and kind of getting to that was a big challenge.
Mm-hmm. I'll give a business answer to this question, actually. Hardest part from a business perspective was finding a publisher that was willing to take a chance on us, because this was our first major release. So shout out to Quantum Astrophysicists Guild for that. Thank you very much, because they were the ones who were willing to take a chance on us. And most motivating, at least for me, was the idea that this game could be on Nintendo Switch. We've always dreamed of putting out a Nintendo game, and the fact that that's possible now for just an indie team of two is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nintendo has become the home of the indies. Let's say, like it's been a really good platform for indies because, I mean, it's you gain the portability, you gain the accessibility, and you don't need a huge machine to run these types of games normally. So yeah, it became sort of a natural home for these kinds of games. And would you say that you have now you feel more confident in your abilities to like converse with publishers and try to find funding and try to like let's just say like navigate the industry. Are you more confident in your ability to do that now?
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. We actually, when we were pitching this game to publishers, we got a lot of no's just because they just straight up said that they didn't think that we could finish the game or didn't think that we could port the game,
Mhm.
but because we didn't have anything to back that up. So like this time with our next game, where been talking to publishers and just having that like kind of notch to say we've done this, we can do it again, like we can finish the game is a huge selling point.
Completely
Um,
changes the
and
conversation.
Okay. So there must be. Okay, yeah, this is what I
There's
was
one
looking
up
for.
there on the top right.
You big minis.
that's one huge thing I would advise other devs to do is to prove to people that you can finish a game first
Yeah, for real.
before you spend several years on a game. Try to kind of get more under your belt so that you can show to publishers.
Yeah, like I would say my advice for newer developers is get something done, see if you can get it like on Xbox through ID at Xbox or something, because that's a pretty open sort of platform right now. It's they're very open to putting games. Although I don't know what the new Xbox release now that I think about it. But anyway, still go for ID at Xbox and see if you can like get some porting experience under your belt too. Prove that you can do it, and it'll probably help you in your conversations with publishers
Yeah, mainly
for sure.
because I think the thing that developers are looking for the most is like obviously reducing the risk level for them. So if they see that you've already published the game, they know that you at least can finish it and you can
Exactly.
put it on different platforms, which is one of the most important things. So yeah, trust is 100% the thing to go for. So
Of
you have
course.
some kind of lore in the world, like secrets hidden like this, or you have more of this?
Yes, there are 20.
Oh, nice.
20 books to be found throughout the world.
Nice. Very good.
There's
5
kind
in
of
each area.
world building lore that didn't fit into like the dialogue areas, but we still wanted to kind of include for people who wanted to dig more into it.
Nice. So now I have a plate mail.
Yep.
Okay.
There's even like a small like mini storyline kind of in the background in the lore that I'd almost like to that totally has the ability to have like a prequel spawned off from it
Oh, nice.
in
That's
some
always
way.
good.
If we can sort out the mechanics and stuff and make it happen at some point.
Ooh.
There's some pretty cool stuff.
Can I do this? Oh no, not what I meant to do.
You try to hit the arrow out of the sky, out of the air.
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, can I do it? I know. I know. It's just an
Nah, you
indicator
can't
of
do that.
the trajectory, right? Okay. Good. 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 Good.
Yeah, just an indicator trajectory. Exactly.
Let's try to get this over. Hello, big boy. Oh, too close.
This bridge is probably the largest single art asset in the game, I think, right, TJ?
Yep.
From its
Oh
sheer size
no, I've got
perspective.
myself
I just
in a bit of a pickle.
yeah. It's not repeated at all. It's just one
One
giant
big
art
block.
asset.
Okay, good.
One
Ryan
giant
just sent me the level file and I drew over the top of it.
Yep.
Ooh-loo-loo-loo.
Like here, spend a weekend on this.
Okay. Do you have any particular stories from the development that stuck with you now that you are practically already done with the project?
Oh man, I've got a good one. I think this kind of affected me more than TJ. Was we noticed a massive bug about a year and a half into development. We were on Game Maker 1.4, and the issue was on some computers the game would run at normal speed,
Oh yeah.
and on other computers it would run at double the speed, and without any rhyme or reason. And just looking into it, that was just a problem with Game Maker 1.4. So we had to basically scrap the whole project and rebuild it in Game Maker 2.
Oh.
we were
And
we were designing the game and there were certain levels I was like, Ryan, this is like really easy. Can we maybe like speed up the player and the projectiles a little bit? And he's like, TJ, it's already fast enough. Like
yeah, it
I don't
turns
know
out
what
he
you're
was playing a
doing.
half speed. Yeah, or I was playing at double speed. He was playing at normal
Yeah.
speed. I was playing at double speed. And it wasn't until we got both of our computers together at a conference where I was like, wait a minute, is one running faster than the other?
Yeah, you were
And it
thinking
turned out
like,
yes.
oh my god, this game is so hard. I can do.
Yeah.
We need to make it
So
easier.
Well, we actually found, like, the way we found out is we booted up, I think, the earliest version of this level with the bridge, and we both cleared it, and then we timed how long it would take the player to run from the bottom to the top, and like his was like, or like mine was like 40% faster or something. It was weird, and there was just no way of solving it. So I literally went home and I was like, do we just scrap this whole thing or do I rebuild it? And eventually, I just decided, obviously, to rebuild it.
Whew,
Um,
I'm glad you
but
did.
it was not a fun month.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating.
You were actually able to put to the test that what? Oh my God, what is this? You were actually able to put to the test that the thing that we were talking about, like you improved so much during your project.
hmm hmm
You
And like that. Oh, go ahead.
no, it's just that like during that time you were developing that, you were like, oh my God, I've become such a better developer. Oh,
hmm
lumberjack.
Well, that's the thing is, thankfully, with that rewrite, we did add a lot of like new improvements and stuff to the game, and did kind of change up the art a little bit. So like that was a good point where we could say, okay, if we are gonna change things and make things different, now is the time, since we're rewriting everything.
Yeah, one of the
But
one of the really good things about this game is it did teach us. It taught us a lot about how to develop a game and what we were doing wrong or what our misconceptions were.
yes,
So this process, while it took a little longer than it would have, like if we were to start this game again, we could probably do it in a year.
oh yeah,
But like those 3 years kind of was us kind of developing our developing skills, like
yeah.
how to design better, how to interact with the player better, and how to teach the player better.
hmm
All these different skills that we didn't have when we started the game.
Yep, yep. Even simple things like just like feedback and stuff, like the fact, like a projectile for the player to actually seize it needs to be about player sized. Like if you look at the
Okay.
arrows that the archers are shooting, they're taller than the actual character model. Even simple stuff like that um, kind of takes some time to
Yeah,
learn and to kind of get a general
small
feel.
things on the screen that may appear to be like obviously for you, like okay, it's obvious there's a projectile coming right at me, but the player
hmm
actually can't deal with it on time and can't react if it's not like a big ass thingy on the screen.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then like teaching like visibility, like almost everything that's interactable in the game is about almost probably double the saturation of things in the background.
Yep.
So like just to kind of draw the eye to them, so like the projectiles are super saturated and the enemies are saturated, so that you can kind of see them easier. Versus like the background is almost like kind of grayish green, so
Yep.
that it kind of fades back.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, small little things you pick up that actually
Yep.
matter a lot, but people just don't know because they've never made a game before.
Yeah, people will know instantly when it's wrong, but when it's right, you don't even notice. Like when it
Exactly.
feels good, you don't even notice, but
Oh,
you can tell instantly when the game feels off.
Yep. Exactly.
okay. So I know you guys are working on your second game right now, but if you could have like, let's say, unlimited funds, unlimited time, what would be like a dream project for you? You can refer to it in whatever terms you want, like either mechanically, thematically, it can be like a book, a movie, anything else. It just doesn't need to be like game related, basically.
That's a good question. Honestly, I'd probably just say a more fleshed out version of our next game, to tell you
Oh,
the
good.
truth. I'm really excited about our next project. It has some strong Minesweeper vibes, which is a game that is very near and dear to my heart. Um, and so, yeah, that's honestly our next game is what's really, really exciting me right now. And I think if my dream version would be if we had like just like $1 million to make it and just
My
go crazy
first
with it.
death. Good.
Oh yeah, that was your first stuff, I
Nice.
think.
Okay.
If we had unlimited funds and probably a larger team or more time to do it, I would definitely, for me personally at least, I would want to make like a better Pokemon game and like a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
more adult story because like Pokemon's a great game, but like they don't realize that their audience is like 18 to 30, and they're making games for like 12 and under. So it'd be really cool to kind of use that idea and make like a more adult themed, not like adult, but like
Yeah, yeah.
more
Just more,
in
a little bit
age
more
group.
serious,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and like more serious, more like kind of grittier, I guess. But like that's something that's always been kind of the monster tamer idea, but like for like a grown up audience.
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you there because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, but let's just say that their most recent ventures have been a little bit weird in terms of like
Yeah,
they are one of the most profitable companies in the video game world right now, and I think the franchise, like not just historically, right, but they deserve better because the franchise sells a lot. So
yeah. My
they
biggest problem with them is they've so easy to make like an incredible game. Like they have all of the things to lay out, and they just keep making surface level narratives and like very. They basically just keep releasing the same game. Like they barely change anything other than add new Pokemon every gen, and it like hurts my soul to like see that kind of go to waste.
yeah, for sure. But that would be a very. I mean, I would tell you to check out Temtem, obviously, but it's not so much adult. But I think it's a better
Yeah,
Pokemon. Let's
Yep.
say Temtem is certainly an amazing project.
yeah,
So
for sure.
when you were making this game, why did you decide to make a twin stick shooter? Is it because you love those kinds of games? What was the motivation?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth. I think it
We
just
were making a side scrolling game that dealt with teleportation. And then we kind of took a break to do this with the focus around time stop, and it just kind of I don't even know like how it kind of came to be, but we kind of just liked it and ran with it.
yeah, because yeah, we were doing like a side scrolly sort of thing for a little while, and we took a break, and then I think in my own time for about a month, I just worked on like a prototype for a twin stick, and then showed it to TJ, and he liked it, and then we made the game. But I don't remember what got us to twin stick. I think I was just like, I just want to experiment with something I haven't built before. That's
Nice.
kind of thought.
Oh, that has a huge range.
Because
Oh boy.
I think up until that point, everything we had been working on was side scrolling,
Okay.
and this was also like in the age when side scrollers are still doing really well, but this was like only a year or two post Super Meat Boy and post Braid and all those
Ay,
super successful
these
side
archers are
scrollers. So
going to be the death of me.
it was also just hard to compete with other side scrollers when you have games of that magnitude
Yeah.
out and about.
Oh my god. Now I'm really feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
It's like close
Oh,
close knit quarters are the death. Like when you can back up, you're okay. But when you're like stuck in the same room with limited
Hmm.
movement options, yeah, then it becomes more
yeah.
complicated.
There's definitely a lot of intentional anxiety designed into some of these areas where it kind of forces you to get out of your safe space,
Yep.
and try to use your time manipulation
Yep.
to your best extent.
Okay, good. Let's see if I can do it. Oh god. I keep forgetting that even though time is still the arrows still hurt me.
Yeah, the arrow still hurts you if you run
Yeah.
into it.
Yep.
Gotta keep gotta keep a little bit more attention to that. Okay, let's see if I can do this right now. Oh, just okay, good. Oh my god. Everything is so tight. I just have to not be hit by this big boy. Please. Okay, good. Die. Thank
You
you.
got him. There you go.
Food. Oh no, I need two food. I don't
I
have
need one
food.
more.
What is this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Maybe here, please. No. Okay. Hmm. Oh no. Let me just hide here and wait for my timey-wimey powers. Okay, good. Oh no. Two big boys. Oh, yeah, I'm stuck.
Good
Okay,
pick.
good. Let's go. Let's go. Let me check if there's anything else around the corner.
Ooh, right there. Oh,
Oh,
Don't worry. Okay, good. Is there any weapon that you can get like a recall? Oh, damn, that was quick. Is there any weapon that you can like recall mid-flight faster?
um, the closest thing we have to that is probably the portal sword, and that's something that instead of throwing it, the sword just teleports to its maximum range away from you, and
Ooh,
then recalls
okay.
backwards and does
And
damage on
does
the
damage.
recall.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's probably the fastest weapon we have, and then we've got some robes that speed up recall speed, weapon recall speed as well. So if you have those two
Yeah.
combined,
Oh,
it's a pretty good combo.
okay. Oh, okay, good. Did you guys do the music yourselves, or did you get someone outside of the team to make the music?
No, we hired a composer. His name is Tony Manfredonia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he is very professional and we're very happy with the quality of his work.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. That was what I was like because I keep hearing the songs and I think it's one of the best parts of the game. And I'm not even saying this just because like, oh yeah, because the mechanics suck. No, it's that the music is just that good.
yeah, the music's good. We're very happy with Tony. So yeah, if anyone's making a game and needs music, look up Tony Manfredonia.
yeah. We
He
had
does
a
work.
very strange request of him for like the style because it's kind of
Yeah,
like a Celtic folklore-ish
Please
music
die.
mixed with like lo-fi beats, and it was definitely something he's never done before, and I think he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. It's just
yeah.
really, I don't know, bouncy, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's difficult to describe, but it's really enjoyable. Oh my god, what? I got hit with what? A table?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, good. Oh, because
Um,
he. Okay, 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 I get it.
Yeah, when he spins and hits the table, he throws it.
Okay,
yep.
good.
It's kind of a
Um,
way for us to prep you for the boss that's coming up shortly.
yep. But yeah, Tony was great to work with. We actually got to meet him at PAX East in Boston. That was the first time, we got to meet him in person. And so we actually just grabbed an Airbnb together with him and just hung out for the week, and it was a ton of fun. And we are definitely going to be working with him on game two as well when that happens.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's good
yeah,
when you can develop meaningful like work relations that actually are fruitful for everyone involved, and you can develop some trust. Yeah, that's the best thing.
yeah, exactly. Like we know the soundtrack's gonna be in good hands with him. He does great work. Like he even like has been asking us. He's like, let me see gifs, let me see videos. He's like, I'm blocking off time so I can start, so I can make this soundtrack. And so I know he's already thinking about it, which is cool. So yeah, in fact, even he made a track for the trailer for the next game, completely free, just because he wanted us to be able to pitch with something with
Oh,
some of
that's
his
awesome.
music. Yeah, yeah.
That's kind
So
of how we got involved with him in the first place. Was like it was almost like 2 years ago before when we asked him to make the trailer music.
oh, it was earlier than that, man. It was like
I was
5 years
gonna
ago
say,
when we did
okay.
Celtic. Remember, we he made that first song for
Oh
Celtic.
yeah, that was for a different game. I forgot
Yeah, that
about
was
that.
for
Oh
prototype
my
number
gosh.
72.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to make it to the boss
That's okay.
because
Yeah,
we
you
are.
still got a few levels. You
Yeah,
still
yeah,
got a few big levels.
Yeah.
yeah. I think most people who saw the game would be are already like aware of what they can expect, which is challenging gameplay but not unfair gameplay. Different kinds of weapons, different kinds of like you have to actually think when you're playing. It's not a just a walk up and do it kind of game. Probably some retrials and different attempts, but also great music, great art direction, funny. So yeah, I think people got a real good idea of what the game is. So let me exit and see if we have any interesting questions for us.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, let's check it out. As always, we have our amazing presence, Gonçalo Lopes, which is always here and of course loves it when games are in the Switch because he plays almost everything. Oh, he's recommending Nexomon for a fan of like Pokemon games. I've heard about it, but I have no idea if it's good, if it's like different, if it's mature. But there's a recommendation for you. So I would
Okay.
like to know if
Yeah,
anyone
I'll have to
has
check it out.
if anyone has any questions in the chat for the guys, anything that they want to add. I'm going to leave the link for the demo in the stream right now. Let me just do that real quick so people can try it out. Or if you want, you can just go to our site, indiex.pt, and there's a mosaic. You press in the ambassador, and there's a link there that leads you directly to their Steam page. So feel free to check it out. Feel free to take a look, play it, and just enjoy, because it's a really awesome game. I mean, for a first game, it's incredible. Even though, as you say, of course, you say, "Oh my God, we shouldn't have taken 3 years," but live and learn. Like it's your first project, and I think it's already amazing that you were able to get your first project published and on different platforms. So I can see plenty of success for you in the future, and I hope we can see you and have you again here on IndieX. And I want to thank you for giving us a little bit of your time to show off your game to everyone. And yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you. This has been fun.
So, having said that, today we have a very filled day. We are going to keep having on streams until like our last stream today finishes like at 11 p.m. I would say. So stick around. We're going to have different streams with different games every hour today. So yeah, definitely check us out. And thank you very much for everyone being in the chat. And we'll definitely see you guys in the future. Thank you much.
Thank you.
And you are off the air.